4.5% lower now. Kunal Shah, technical and derivative analyst at LKP, is with us, and we'll talk about the fundamentals of Cipla as well. We'll talk about the markets too. But Kunal, good afternoon. May I request you to pull up the charts of Cipla or the derivative picture of Cipla? I know it's just happened right now, but we'd love to understand what's your initial impression of the reaction that Cipla is showing.
Good afternoon, Neeraj. I think first I'll talk about the Nifty Pharma Index. So I think Pharma Index is showing some kind of resistance on the higher end. There's a clear-cut and negative divergence which we can see on the Nifty Pharma chart. So that is not looking very good. I think a near-term pain could be there in the pharma sector as well. The lower end support for the Pharma Index is at 18,400. Once we breach that mark, we will see further selling pressure towards 18,000, 17,800 mark. So as an index, pharma is something which I'm not liking for the near term. If we talk about Cipla, definitely after the kind of rally what it had got, it has been underperforming since quite a long time. And still the trend has been on the lower end where lower high, lower low formations are currently intact. So I expect some further downside into the stock where it can test the 50 EMA, which is placed at 1320, 1290 zone. So still from the current levels, 40 to 50 points dip is left. So my view remains bearish. Clear-cut resistance is visible at 1380, 1400 zone.
All right, Kunal. So Cipla, the market not really loving those numbers, even though margins have gone up, but perhaps a little below estimates, and we'll get a view there. But even as we break down Cipla, I just want to get your take on the indices that have been holding up fairly well. Relative to what was happening yesterday. Any calls on the Nifty, Bank Nifty and the IT Nifty actually, if I would add, Kunal?
Yeah, I think firstly, I just talk about the markets. If we talk about India VIX, that is where the real spike has been, and it is sustaining above that mark of 19. So the volatility is going to be there for the upcoming week as well. Now, today is going to be a weekly close for the markets. And if you look at Nifty and Bank Nifty, both have given a very negative weekly closing, and they are just on a very critical support zone. So for Nifty, I'll just talk about 21,800 is the last hope for the markets. If that is even breached decisively in the next week, then even we'll see correction going to a 21,200 mark as well. So I think it's a wait and watch situation there. For Bank Nifty, you can say the larger part of the correction, what we have seen is over. Now the next immediate support for Bank Nifty is at 47,050, which is the 100-day exponential moving average for the Bank Nifty. So probably there I can see Bank Nifty settling down a bit, and probably a pullback rally we can see from those levels as well. So from the levels perspective, I'll say both the indexes are currently not in a tradable zone because they are at a juncture where Nifty could, if it breaks below 22,000 again, it can see a quick 200-point fall on the downside as well toward that 21,800 mark. So let us wait and watch for the market perspective on headline index. Stock specific is something where one should keep an eye on.
We'll get to the stock specific, the specifics.
They've spoken about sales and what's happened in the quarter, so on and so forth. We just wait for those numbers to come out. You've got on the view on Cipla, of course, from Kunal. Kunal, what are the stocks that you're recommending in the session today?
See, the first thing, I have two buy ideas from the current levels as well. One stock which is showing a great momentum in this falling market is Deepak Nitrite. The stock has been sustaining above its critical moving average of 20 DMA. So we have been seeing buying from lower levels. So Deepak Nitrite is a buy at the current levels of 2480, keeping a stop loss of 2425 and looking for targets of 2600 on the upside. The second stock, which I think is ready for a pullback after the correction, is IEX, Indian Energy Exchange. Again, the stock has been taking a support at its previous support levels where multiple bounces we have seen. And even in today's trading session, we have seen volume-based buyings from those levels. So 145 is currently where the stock is trading. Keep a stop loss of 140 on the downside and look for a target of 152 on the upside.
Okay, so those are the big, bets at this hour. The margins have contracted, but that profit jump has enthused the markets. Kunal, on the charts, do you like Polycab even now?
I think already the stock has rallied a lot, and I think fresh new highs for the stock. So you can say now sky is the limit. But yes, definitely, I think I'll be a buyer on dips here. 6,025, 6,030 could be an added level to initiate long positions, keeping a stop loss of 5,950, and again looking for fresh high levels of 6,400 on the upside.
Okay. So that's the word on polycab 6125. You know, the thing about polycab, if you pull up this year's chart, you will see that when the news flow came in, the negative news flow came in about 3 months ago.
Kunal, anything in that space that you're tracking? I don't know if you're looking at intellect design, but then, you know, let's take a look at the larger IT space as well. And a very, very weak day for that index, except for, like, say, a Coforge mainly. Any of these on your radar?
Yeah, I think that is what, if you look at the correction, what we had got in the IT space, majorly from the large caps and even from the mid and the small caps, Intellect was something which was only trading in a sideways. And post the result, now the breakdown has come in for the stock with volumes. So I think follow-up move is very necessary. If Intellect continues to sustain below the marks of 950, then we can see this selling pressure continuing even towards the mark of 825, 800 levels on the downside. So for me, it's a wait and watch situation for Intellect at the current levels. On the IT space, yes, Coforge had seen some bit of buying in today's trading session. So clearly some kind of respite what we can see in the stock in the very near term. Already the sell-off has been very aggressive into the stock. So just for a pullback play, one can look to initiate longs for targets of 4,600 to 4,800 on the upside.
Okay. Well, that's IT for you, but remember, a clutch of these names have come off quite rapidly, even at the mid-side end, by the way. It's not just the large cap IT names. Anything in metals though, Kunal, that catches your eye, Hindustan Zinc in particular?
See, I think if we talk about Hindustan Zinc, already the rally has been very sharp. So I think current levels fresh buy doesn't initiate. But one stock I would like to highlight over here is Vedanta. A clear-cut uptrend, a strong breakout in the stock. What we have got, higher high low formations are intact. We can expect further upside into the stock. So currently trading around 409, 4010 mark. One can initiate longs at the current levels, keeping a stop loss of 398 on the downside and looking for immediate targets of 422 to 430 on the upside.
Meanwhile,
Kunal, quick word here. Asian Paints, there is also some gains. For example, today in a Hindalco, which has recovered a little bit of lost ground. So some of these stocks are doing well today. Any thoughts? Asian Paints in particular?
I think on Asian Paints, if I talk about, I think the stock is on the verge of a near critical support, 2700. And we have seen the stock on the weekly chart bouncing from those levels. But looking at the overall trend for the stock, it is still trading in a downtrend. So for me, if the stock has to turn bullish, it has to surpass again 3000 decisively. If that is taken out, you can see momentum building up towards 3200 mark. At the current level, I will not be a buyer. I'll wait for the breakout above 3000. That will negate the entire downtrend, and then we'll see the up move coming in.
Okay, speaking of Asian Paints, by the way.
Kunal, your take on any of the auto packs, Hero Moto, Tata Motors?
I think Hero Motor is something which we also like a lot. I think on technicals, if we look at the monthly chart, the stock has given us a flag and pole breakout, which is a typical bullish continuation pattern. So looking at the pattern, the target will come for the stock over here is 5,250. So 5250, it can head towards 4,880 currently it is trading. You can accumulate at current levels. If you get any dips, utilize that to buy. 4600 now becomes a very, very strong support for the stock.
Kunal, your top STBT or BTST?
See, I think the top STBT stock over here will be ABFRL. The stock has in today's trading session given a volume-based breakout on an intraday chart. Plus, it has surpassed the last 3 days high as well. So clear-cut volume is visible. Breaches 20-day moving average as well with volumes. So one can initiate a buy at the current levels of 258, keeping a stop loss of 249 on the downside and looking for targets of 270 on the upside.
Kunal, one very quick question. I don't know if we spoke about Zomato, we spoke about it with Siddharth, but this uptick that you're seeing, would you buy into it for a trade?
Yes, exactly. The larger term trend remains very attractive. High low formations are intact. In fact, today's trading session is a fresh breakout from a consolidation phase. So 200, 201, which was a resistance, which is taken out today, and we are going to close above it. So clearly a buy for me at the current levels. 195 is the stop loss, and 212 to 218 would be the targets on the upper end.
Gentlemen, have a great Akshaya Tritiya, fabulous weekend. Tell your wives, or rather, buy gold for your wives through Zomato or otherwise, and see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well, let's start.